If you're a high earner, the savings rules you've been following for 30 years are structurally wrong. You're building a portfolio you can't access, and by the time you realize it, it's often too late to fix. Today, I'm breaking down the real data from our $850 million firm for every decade so you can see exactly where you stand and how to avoid the millionaire broke trap. Before we can get started, you really need to see what it is that I'm working with. Here's the raw data. And what you're seeing is roughly 800 households, 752 to be exact. And we're looking at $844 million in investable assets. You could see there the median age or the average age here is about 52. Verde's target market is between 500,000 and 2.5 million. So those are where most of our clients sit. Now, if you want to see this also in terms of an income standpoint, you're saying, okay, where does my income need to be in the top 1%, top 4%, or top 25%? You could see here, if you're making $1 million a year, anything from about 315,000 to 631,000 is going to be top 4%. Now, anybody making under $150,000 of household income would be in that 75 percentile that we would call mainstream, right? When I'm showing you these numbers, I'm not showing you US averages. A lot of the generic advice that you see on YouTube is going to be all about, well, if you've saved up $30,000 by the time you're 20, like you're doing great. Well, yes, in the mainstream, right? But let's dive right into the numbers and let's see how they look by decades. First decade, for those of you in your 20s, look at this. In the 20s, the average Verde client has between 55,000 and 135,000. What are some things you should be thinking about if you're in your 20s and doing your financial planning? Start a business or a side hustle. I started my business in 2008. I was 25 at the time. Had I had a family obligations, I would have thought much more about the decision to take that massive risk. But because I was childless at the time, I was newly married. We had a very small house, not a lot of obligations. It was kind of like a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. If I don't do this now, I may never do it. It's important to create other revenue streams when you're at this age and you have a ton of energy and a high risk tolerance, which is also important. Pay off your college loans. Some of you may graduate with a lot of debt. You don't want that thing carrying through into your 30s and 40s and 50s. Start building your savings. This is not just, an emergency fund, although I am talking about an emergency fund in this case. This is where you start saving 50% of what you're saving into a brokerage account and you start to allocate money there. At first, it might be in the money market fund, but eventually you can buy some stocks with it. You can start to buy an index fund. And then the other 50% of your savings should go to your long-term goals. So make sure you take advantage of the 401k match, for example. If your employer offers a Roth 401k, and many do, your 20s are the one window where it's a clear decision. You're paying taxes now at a rate that will look cheap in 15 years. The people who maximize it in their 20s are the ones who have tax-free access in their 50s. Ideally, what I want most people to learn to do in their 20s, become a saver before they're a spender. So they start saving between 25 and 33% of their take-home pay. A couple of don'ts in your 20s. Do not buy real estate in your 20s. You should be focused on finding the right job, being in kind of the right place. And in order to do that, you need to be mobile. You can't be tied down by some property that you might not be able to sell. Do not worry about failure in your 20s. 20s are all about experimentation, trying new things. So keep going. All right, let's move on to the 30s. This is an exciting decade. Most Verde clients in the 30s have anywhere from $474,000 to $517,000 in investable assets. Now, what are the people in their 30s doing that are making them successful? In your 30s, you're likely to get married. You might start having kids, and you want a job that can actually accommodate both. So you should not be in that entry level anymore. You should have now progressed upwards or to another company. Number two, this is your last chance to start a business. Now, is it really your last chance? No, but in my opinion, if you're not going to do it when you're in your 30s, your energy levels will wane and you'll have other obligations in your life. It's just going to become monumentally difficult and you may never do it. Buy your forever home. I'm not a big proponent of buying and upgrading your house every couple of years. I know that there's a lot of people that do that. The most successful clients I've ever seen buy a house and stay with it for a long time. Real estate's not one of these things you want to upgrade and change often. I like stretching a little bit more, waiting a little bit more to buy the first house and making it your home until you downsize, getting ready for retirement. Now, we've talked about this, but you need to move past just the emergency fund. At this point, you're now building a brokerage account. You can start maxing out your 401k or your Roth IRA, even your HSA. This is the decade for accumulating wealth. What are some don'ts in your 30s? Don't forget about insurance. Look at your protection planning needs, and really look in depth to see what would happen if you were to die or get disabled. Because if you buy life insurance at this age, in many cases, you can get a 30-year term policy that'll take you all the way into your 60s. Really cheap way of making sure that if anything happens to you, your family isn't destitute. Don't forget about doing your estate plan, your will or trust. This is the time to get things right about protecting those around you. The number one reason why people don't get this done is because it's quite painful. Most of us do not want to meet with lawyers to talk about our death and demise, but we know it's absolutely necessary, and we don't want to leave a big mess behind for somebody else to have to clean up when we're gone. This could be as simple as $100 to $300. I'm not kidding. In 45 minutes with your financial advisor. All right. Watch out for lifestyle creep. This is the age at which a bunch of people start saying, well, you know, that Toyota was a great car, but I'm moving up to the Lexus now. Don't do that. Lifestyle creep can really mess you up. Watch out for home improvement projects that, kind of run amok with extra spending. Kids can also be a huge money pit at this age. If you don't teach them that you're going to say no, they'll ask for everything and anything.